online, and we're gonna begin the live streaming. We're recording this, and it's going on Facebook and on YouTube. And Diane, the meeting is yours.
Good evening, and it's actually 6:02. Our meeting is called to order. And as Lee just already spoke, we do have a heavy agenda tonight, so I'm asking everyone to be respectful of everybody's time in here. And try your best not to go over your limit, please. So also, we're not gonna do our regular introduction to our meeting with the house rules and the Zoom instructions. I believe everyone has that down by now. So I'm gonna not go through that tonight. Okay. Do we have enough way, Adam, for vote on a minute?
I am still adding people, not quite yet, but I have to double check.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. So, Ms. Darlene, can you give us a financial report, please? Wherever you need to be.
You have to speak into toward that.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Only one person. Let me see. Well, we had one, our balance is $5,387.76. We had one withdrawal of $65.66. That was for our little welcome to the police chief Jacobson in, I think it was September. So our balance is $5,387.76. So if there's any questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Darlene.
Okay.
Okay. Is Lieutenant here?
The lieutenant is not here, so maybe we should move on. Oh, he's online.
Hi, Lieutenant.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. You have the floor.
Great. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I will try to keep my remarks brief tonight. Got a lot really tough month for Fairhaven. So we had we've been doing very well this year so far. Unfortunately, this last month, we had 3 separate people shot within the district. One incident occurred in the afternoon hours in the area of Ferry and Lombard. An individual was shot in the arm and suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Another incident occurred at Atwater and Dover Street. In that incident, that occurred on September 16th at just after 10:30 at night. Officers responded to a call for multiple shots fired in the area. This one is honestly one of the more concerning ones that I've seen in a while in Fairhaven, outside of when people are struck by gunfire. There were over 42 rounds, shots fired in this particular incident, which is an anomaly for Fairhaven. That's unfortunately with some of the ghost guns that we've talked about and some of the extended magazines holding extra rounds of ammunition. We're seeing more incidents more incidents where higher numbers of rounds are fired. And so officers have been out in both those areas, both Lombard and Ferry, and in the area of Dover and Atwater. One other incident that we had, a woman was asleep in her bed on James Street, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 vehicles were shooting back and forth at each other. A couple of bullets struck a house at James and Saltonstall, and officers responded to the area. One of the women inside was struck by one of the bullets and suffered non-life-threatening injuries. We've been out in that area as well. A couple of these cases have significant leads for us. Obviously, I can't talk about them in a public forum, but we've identified a couple of people of interest. There's no concerns. The incidents are targeted incidents, obviously outside of the woman who was struck in her bedroom while she was sleeping. That's another really concerning incident for us. And so every single time that someone fires shots in New Haven, we are really trying to investigate these incidents so that just because someone doesn't get shot doesn't mean that it's not something that should be looked into or that we should be really putting our time into. And so the shooting task force has done a phenomenal job of following up on incidents where people are shooting guns in the city through camera footage, through interviews with a lot of cooperative witnesses. They've had a lot of really good work accomplished. They continue to do warrants for individuals. They continue to identify people who are conducting those carrying firearms and looking to injure people or hurt people in New Haven with them. Most recently, this past weekend, some of our plainclothes task force officers were out in the area of Ferry and Clay. They received information that an individual was carrying a firearm in that area. They responded to the area and were able to detain him and take that firearm off of him. And so the police work is still being done. There's a lot of it to be done. But so the task force officers and plainclothes officers are always out in Fairhaven. This afternoon, as we speak right now, there's probably about 10 of them out doing a couple of different things related to the homicide that we had a few nights ago at the intersection of Limerick and Ferry. More so Row and Limerick. Officers responded to an incident where multiple shots were fired. When officers arrived, they located an individual suffering from, they weren't sure if he was struck by gunfire or struck by a car. That individual was transported to the hospital where unfortunately he succumbed to his injuries. If anyone saw an increase of dirt bikes and quads and motorcycles in Fairhaven today, that was as a result of people coming to the celebration of life for that individual in Fairhaven. So they had a funeral today. And so we've continued to keep our presence out in that area. We don't have any information that it's an incident that's going to cause the retaliation or anything that's going on in Fairhaven right now. But we have, again, officers out in that area of Ferry and Limerick, Ferry and Chatham. We're aware of a lot of the different issues that are going on out there and trying to keep them under wraps. I know it's a lot of heavy stuff to talk about. I really hate coming to the meeting with some heavy things like that. So I wanted to bring up a couple of other things that are going on. One, we have Lieutenant Rosa, who is the Westville District Manager. We've really started one of the chief's initiatives was to push out a police athletic league. So one of the complaints that we heard over the pandemic from people in the community were that there weren't enough things for kids to do. And so on top of speeding, on top of some of the other complaints, there wasn't enough programs for kids to participate in. And so Lieutenant Rosa has had a flourishing jujitsu program that involves kids learning jujitsu, but also teaching each other jujitsu over at our Wintergreen facility over by Southern. So Lieutenant Rosa, Detective Cordero have been doing a phenomenal job with that program. That's open. If anybody was interested in that, I'll gladly point you his way, or I can put a flyer in so the management team can send it out. We're also starting a chess club, which is an interesting thing for us to do. But so in collaboration with Yale University, we're going to be doing a chess club with the Police Athletic League. Ideally, the goal is to get to a cadet program where we have kids will go to the PAL programs. They'll participate in those programs. If they're interested in careers in public safety, whether it be police, fire, or EMS, they'll enroll in a cadet program where we can kind of give them a window into all of that stuff. And hopefully that will help us in recruitment and retention of people in New Haven and people interested in careers in public safety. So that's the plan. That should be, we're rolling that out, and it's moving forward as we hire more officers. We have 20 plus officers in different academies all over the state right now. And so as those officers come out, hopefully we'll have some more presence out on the streets. I know I had a very productive meeting with a number of business owners on Grand Avenue last week. And there was about 20 or 30 business owners there from Grand Avenue talking about some of the issues going on. And so the chief has promised to have more walking beats and more presence on Grand Avenue. Obviously, I still know that there's other areas that need police attention as well. And so we're spreading the officers that we have over those areas to try to alleviate some of these things that have been going on. Overall in Fairhaven, though, for our year, things have been looking really good. I know this month is an outside of our usual things that have been going on. None of these incidents are related. But so overall, our violent crime in Fairhaven is down between 7 and 10%. Property crime is down in Fairhaven. Overall, things are trending in the right direction. And hopefully, as we come into the fall, getting more officers, having more officers on the beat, doing some more community engagement things, we can keep that going in the right direction. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If not, I'll put my information in the chat on the side. You can always text me, call me, email me. I'll drop all those contacts in the side in the chat.
Thank you so much. You have a question?
There's a question over
There's a
here.
question.
Right. Diane?
Oh,
Yeah,
Diane.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
After listening to all the shootings and everything in Fairhaven, this is gonna seem like a nuisance complaint. But we have a noise ordinance in the city. Is there a way that it can be enforced? Because we have a party on Blatchley Avenue that goes till 4 o'clock in the morning. And the noise is ear splitting and my house shakes and the cops come. And as soon as they leave, the noise starts up again. And they did send a police officer one time, and I'm sure he filled his date book, but that's about the only thing that got accomplished. I've tried talking to numerous people, and one person's gonna tell the other person's gonna tell the other person. One is in July, one is in August. Is there a way that the person that has this party can be fined? Because I think if you hit them in the pocketbook, it's better than just a slap on the wrist. If there's anything we can do, I'd like to hear what it is. Thank you. The address? Blatchley Avenue, 141.
Lieutenant? Response to that.
No answer.
Yeah, so I think that is so yes, there are things that we can do about that. I apologize. I think we spoke on the phone. I apologize for the August incident that night that we had officers assigned to that for that party. There were 2 shootings and a fatal motor vehicle accident that all of our officers were tied up on. And so that was something that was on my radar. I know we spoke about it before the incident happened. Unfortunately, our court system isn't going to let us go back afterwards and give an infraction or give an arrest for that. But we can certainly keep it on the radar and try to intervene again next year. I can go and speak with the owners again, and hopefully we can hold it against them. One of the goals over the next year or so with some of the things in the city is to develop some nuisance ordinances that allow us to take care of these things around quality of life issues where people are playing loud music, people are having loud parties, people are really just being disrespectful to their neighbors. So yes, in the moment, I know it's tough to do because people change the music, they turn it down, they turn it up, officers aren't available on the overnight. It's a challenge, but yeah, we can certainly hit them in the pockets for that. It's just the timing has to really be right for us, unfortunately.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a, I don't know, question or observation.
You have to stand up close.
People can hear you on the right.
Oh, okay. When the police are driving by on their normal routes, not answering calls, but just surveying the areas, are they permitted to stop when they hear loud music and they see people who are hanging around in a closed store who shouldn't be there? Can they right that minute stop and write a citation and give it the old first time's a warning, second time's a ticket? Or do they always need to have a complaint from somebody?
No, we prefer to have the complaint, but officers, any of the areas that anyone is talking about habitually, we have a lot of complaints for. And so no, officers can take that enforcement action whenever they see those violations. That's well within their scope of duties to be able to do that.
Well, that would be a unfriendly surprise for the noisemakers if instead of going by, the officer actually stopped and said, okay, you guys. That's just a suggestion.
Yes, that's a great suggestion. We can certainly do that too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Alrighty, guys, I was just informed that we do have a quorum to approve our minutes from last meeting. So can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
So move.
That was Dennis Silvestri that made that.
Yep.
I'll second it.
Any abstentions or any? You have an abstention?
Yeah, I wasn't here, so I'm not gonna vote.
Okay, all right. Alrighty, so we have passed the minutes at this point. Thank you, guys. Alrighty, we can go to Carmen, LCI.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carmen Mendez, and I work for LCI, and you can reach me at 203-410-6527. September was ushered in with multiple visits to several homeless encampments in Fairhaven. The purpose of those visits was to provide the homeless with information about social services available to them and to inform them that they must vacate the private properties they were illegally occupying. These actions involve the assistance of the Homeless Outreach Coordinator and LCI's property management crew. 3 encampments were visited and resolved. We visited these encampments again and will continue to monitor them. Sometimes when you remove one encampment, another one moves into the area. It's very difficult to manage. Public Works collaboration. I called Public Works to ensure that Lombard Street underpass was cleaned by the street crew. They cleaned it, but it will require continuous maintenance by the department. There's constantly litter in that area. I also called to ensure that the requested barriers were placed on Brewery Street to prevent cars from parking on the grass. The installation of the barricades was placed as requested. Recent installation of raised crosswalks has now provided another access point to the area. However, the Parks Department, Engineering Department, Department of Public Works, and LCI are reviewing the installation of bollards to prevent vehicular access. I called about the triangle on Alton and Monroe Streets that need to be cleared rubbish and other debris. The Department of Public Works is aware of this issue and will schedule shortly after the milling and payment season is over. I called about the handicap sidewalk issues at 171 Pine Street. The tenant in the apartment is legally blind and the sidewalk is raised and impassable. This matter was rerouted to the engineering department. The engineering department has committed to fixing the sidewalk this season. Public Space Inspector Cynthia Rivera and I walked up and down Grand Avenue looking for businesses that were out of order with the cleanliness in front of their establishments. Merchants agreed to pick up the litter as soon as possible. I called for additional barriers in front of Cold Spring School. This is not a city project, but after speaking with the principal, the construction site was reconfigured for additional safety. Department of Public Works staff inspected and suggested additional safety signs. Jeff Pescasolido informed me that Front Street paving will be delayed until the spring of 2023. It is happening then because the speed bumps present a problem for paving. Jeff Pescasolido also informed me that the repairs to the stone trail at the Quinnipiac River Park have begun and will be completed soon. Bailey Street has been milled and shall be paved soon. My last issue on this report is 118 Grand Avenue. I get a lot of calls about this particular property, so I wrote a little report on it. 118 Grand Avenue Plaza was a major neighborhood focus throughout the months of July, August, and September. Even though the Grand Cafe's lease was not renewed and they lost their liquor license, the plaza located at 118 Grand Avenue continues to be plagued with illegal activity. At some point in my conversations with Alder Miller and Lieutenant Fumiati, a barrier blocking the entrance to the plaza on Grand Avenue side was discussed and agreed upon. The barrier was placed on the land that belonged to the city of New Haven, but it soon proved to be a problem. Although the plaza owner agreed to the barrier initially, she requested that it be removed after 4 days due to the negative financial impact on the plaza's retail tenants. Delivery trucks could not park on Grand Avenue without causing a traffic problem on Grand Avenue. The truck deliverers complained that the truck drivers rather complained that they could not deliver their goods. They claimed that the easiest way for deliveries was to enter through Grand Avenue and exit through East Pearl Street. Moreover, legitimate customers were also blocked from entering the plaza from Grand Avenue. The barrier was removed 3 days later because the plaza owner was ready to take legal action against the city for violating her property rights. The hope behind the barrier was to make it more difficult for any illicit activity taking place in the parking lot. but it really didn't work out well. The activity relocated to the front of the barrier, and their customers merely parked on Grand Avenue in front of the barrier. Additionally, the barrier was damaged by all sorts of foul anti-police graffiti. Public Works cleaned the graffiti off the barrier as soon as it appeared and before it was removed. Alder Sarah Miller and Lieutenant Fumiati have continued concerns regarding the litter, dumpster trash, loitering, and illegal activities in the plaza. Several Zoom meetings were called to discuss these issues and concerns. I have called the owner of the plaza every time there has been an issue, and the owner has complied with the orders issued by LCI. However, the illicit activity problem persists and is not within LCI's purview. The owner of the plaza has done the following to comply with LCI's request. She has hired a groundskeeper to clean up the trash and the litter once a week. She hired an additional person to clean up the litter in between the groundskeeper's visits. She removed all the bushes from the front of her establishment to make the plaza more visible to police. She trimmed the trees to prevent people from hiding behind them. She's striping the lot for car parking. She is repairing the pothole in her lot. She has instructed the smoke shop owner to place a trash can in front of her establishment to capture trash as people go in and out of the store. She is working on removing the graffiti on the fence and on the building by the end of next week. Some time ago, before LCI got involved, she had installed cameras around her property and gave the police access to the cameras. She installed better lighting around her building, and the city recently installed a bright like the night light that shines onto the front of the building, hopefully helping the police to see more clearly from a distance at night. She installed no loitering signs around the property, and finally, she has committed to continue to work with LCI on the issues concerning her property. The bulk trash tonnage report. July's bulk trash pickup by LCI's property maintenance crew was 12 tons. In August, it was 6 tons, and in September, it was 3 tons. There's been a steady reduction in bulk trash in Fairhaven. If anyone wants to hear more about my report, please let me know. I will be glad to share it with you, but in the interest of time, I have decided to stop.
Thank you, Carmen. All righty. Just a reminder about our quarterly report from Javon. It's coming up soon, right? It's about coming up next couple of months. Okay, so just remember that his contact information is right on the agenda. And if you have something that you would like to share with him before he actually is presenting to us, please use that contact. Okay. All righty. Economic development update from Kathleen.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I have a brief update. Let's see, we can start with.
You're a little quiet there, Kathleen. Sorry, we can't hear you very well.
You know, I'm having problems with my speaker. Is that better?
No.
Still pretty quiet.
Yeah, you know what? It's the problem is it's my Zoom software. Let me try something else. You want to go to the next one and come back to me? Because this.
Okay, you can do that.
I have to log off Zoom, I think.
Okay. Our vision in action. Is there anything to report on that one? Vote to coalition? No, there's nothing here. Just making sure that we're not missing anyone.
I think we have Patricia Rossi here.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Is it my turn?
I believe it is. Can you confirm?
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
So I'm Patricia Rossi. I'm the convener of the League of Women Voters of New Haven. And thank you for letting me address your group tonight. I'm here to let you know that there's going to be something on the ballot. Adam is showing, thank you very much, showing my slides. There's going to be a referendum question on the ballot on November 8th to ask us if we approve of early voting for Connecticut. And early voting is just the ability to cast a ballot at a polling place, so in person, before Election Day. And Election Day this year is going to be Tuesday, November 2nd. And it means that people can choose when they're going to vote if they can't get to the ballot. They can't get to the polling place between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. and on November 8th. Currently, the only way to vote at any other time is to get an absentee ballot, and you need to have an excuse to get an absentee ballot. And there are very few excuses that will let you get an absentee ballot. So everyone has to vote between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. on November 8th. The next slide, please. And why is it important? It's because we live in a 24/7 world where there are people who, you know, if you can get a Big Mac at 2 o'clock in the morning, that means somebody's working that shift. And if people are working 24-hour shifts, they're not sure if they'll be able to get off between 6 and 8 p.m. People who are long distance commuters might not be able to get back to their polling district before 8 p.m. And people who are sick or elderly who don't want to go out in, let's say, a thunderstorm, if it's a nice day the day before Election Day and we have early voting that day, they can go that day and avoid a thunderstorm on Election Day. And it generates shorter lines on Election Day, so it helps people who vote on Election Day, even if to have other people vote earlier. And it's a very popular thing. 80% of Americans support it, and it's across, it's not partisan. 74% of Republicans, 80% of independents, and 85% of Democrats approve of and would like to have early voting. And this is the question that will be asked to approve on the ballot on November 8th. It will say, shall the Constitution of the state be amended to permit the General Assembly to provide for early voting? That's what it will say. And you'll be asked to say either yes or no. And this is the most important slide I wanted you to see. This is what the ballot is going to look like in New Haven on November 8th. And you can see you've got the governor, the senators, Congress people, all of that. And then over on the right-hand side in a little box, vote on the question. I think it's kind of hard to find. So I want everybody to know it's there. And I want them to please be prepared to answer the question, because what we've found, if there's a referendum question on a ballot and people, it's a surprise to people, they either don't vote or they vote no. Thank you very much, Adam. Thank you. We really want people to know it's there, and ideally we would like them to vote yes. Regardless of how they choose to vote, we really want them to know that it's going to be there. And then the next slide just shows that when we expand access to the ballot box, like we did in 2020 during the pandemic, a lot more people vote, and that's what we want. We want everyone to vote in a democracy. That's what we want. That's what makes our democracy strong. And so we're very supportive of expanding access to the ballot box. And this is just a slide that points out that any questions about the security of the ballots is understandable. People have them, but the vote is secure in Connecticut. 0.0000875% of ballots were found to be tampered with. So we're in a good spot. We have a secure system. We just want to try and make sure everybody can vote. And this is a website you can go to that's the League of Women Voters manages. And if you go to vote411.org and you put your address in there, it'll tell you if you're registered to vote, where polling place is, and it will give you information on all the candidates that you can vote for. So, and the information is put in there by the candidates themselves. We don't touch it. So it's however they want to represent themselves. And I think I saw something in the chat, people would like copies of the slides. I'd be happy to provide them. I'll put my email in the chat. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
In the slide with all the candidates, I didn't see the Green Party listed. Was that because it got cut off because of the PowerPoint, or was it just not listed?
If it wasn't there, it was cut off from the PowerPoint, because it's there, because I saw it. They're all there. The working people's parties, all of them are there. Here, let me go back to that. Yeah, it was cut off. You know what? It was cut off so that I could show you. It's below the Libertarian Party. It's
Got it.
because I wanted you to be able to see the thing on the top.
Okay, got it. Just asking because the candidate is my husband and he happens to live, he's a New
Very
Haven
good
resident,
reason.
so.
Very good reason.
Good question.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So, the Environmental Justice Community Environmental Benefits and Agreement, Edith?
Edith, you're on.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the invite. I'm here at the request of Lee Cruz. And this is concerning the Circle of Life. Circle of Life, can we move to you after Edith? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to like jump in on the agenda. So I'm here to talk about the Circle of Life facility. They that are located on Middletown Avenue, they manage and run a volume reduction facility. I'm sure you all are familiar with them. They presented on September 8th at Fairhaven Library because they're required to do so because they're applying for a permit to expand the facility. And as such, it kicks in the Connecticut Environmental Justice Communities Statute 22A-21A. And that statute requires that if you're an existing affecting facility and you want to expand your operations, you have to draft and implement a public engagement plan, right? And so Circle of Life is an affecting facility because it is a large volume reduction facility, right? So it falls under that category. The law has a list of facilities that fall under the EJ statute. And because Circle of Life actually manages greater than, I believe it's a large tonnage of material, they fall under the statute. So basically your affecting facilities are your larger facilities and those that emit the most pollution. So they presented at Fairhaven Library on September 8th, and I was there. I attended the meeting, and I was a little surprised that it didn't have more attention to it because I know that Circle of Life in the past has had a not so happy perception among New Haven folks. So I attended, and he was required to ensure that those people that were on Zoom could hear and they could not. So that was problematic. And he really did not, Matthew Reiser, who is the consultant for Circle of Life, really did not provide acceptable answers to the attendees at the meeting or on Zoom. So he's going to be holding additional meetings. I am going to request him that he attend this management meeting if you all think that's suitable, because New Haven has has this process, right? And if you want to interrupt me and ask questions, please do so. So New Haven is a community that has 12 facilities that would fall under the definition of affected, right? So because of that, the law also requires that they enter into a community environmental benefit agreement with you all. And that community environmental agreement is a discussion that needs to occur with town elected officials, certainly this management team, your local alderman, the mayor, and the community. So I know Lee had asked me to stress that is an opportunity. So let's say you don't particularly, just as an example, some of these community environmental benefit agreements, some of the communities that have had them, and New Haven actually has negotiated some pretty good ones in the past. The one that comes to mind is the PSEG peaking plant in New Haven Harbor. It's one of that was a good SEBA agreement. So New Haven is pressed to, and you have the right talent and community energy to negotiate one with respect to Circle of Life. While we were at the meeting, there was Mike Piscatelli was there from the city, and Laura Brown, and he brought up that there were issues with how the facility looks, and that I believe there are some non-compliance issues with local P&Z. That said, if, for example, you and I heard from Chris Ozick, who was there, that you find the facility unsightly and it's welcome to New Haven, and look at this, facility, which is not attractive at all. Okay. I think that a SEBA agreement could be used to beautify that facility if you so choose, or for them to create a grant program, or if you want to negotiate traffic issues, noise issues, anything of that, like that's all up in a SEBA agreement. So you have that opportunity. They're required by statute to do it. I'm sure Mayor Elicker would be more than happy to push for that. And that's an opportunity that is afforded to you. And I told them at the meeting that they needed to have additional meetings and present the project to multiple stakeholders in New Haven.
So Edith, they have not reached out to us, so we're waiting for them to reach out. Thanks for letting us know that we have the opportunity to get a benefit out of their expansion if it gets approved. Thank you.
Yeah, and for example, if you want them to beautify the property, right? If you want them to plant trees, if there's noise issues that you want addressed, or any kind of grant funding or any other kind of environmental project that you would like for Fairhaven, I would think about it, because that opportunity is there.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
So thank you very much. And I see that you put your contact information in the chat. So if anyone has any more questions, please contact her. Okay. Kathleen, are we ready?
Tell me, can you hear me?
You're still quiet there, Kathleen.
Oh, gosh, it's something to do with the Zoom software. I'm sorry. I have everything up on full volume and speaker. I can also paste in the chat, but just briefly, again, I'm sorry, I'm right up against the speaker here. For the Grand Avenue SSD, the Key Bank grant application for the SSD, which includes monies for more streetscape improvement work and signage, that was submitted on September 30th. So it went out to multiple Fairhaven not-for-profits to provide this work. So the money to pay them to do this work was coming from Key Bank. That's what the grant is. Mike Piscatelli attended a Grand Avenue SSD merchant meeting that had really good participation, and they are addressing issues and working on issues. And there's another round of monies that will come from ARPA. And we're waiting for, I guess, to submit a response to an RFP that we haven't received yet. More along those lines, good news, Fairhaven will be the recipients of 3 projects through the Community Investment Fund Awards. 25% of those monies went to New Haven. There were 25 projects statewide, 9 are here, 3 Fairhaven related, the Community Health Center, New Reach, and Match. And briefly on Strong School, I think others have a more in-depth report, but there was a public meeting that was also well attended. You know, there are 2 credible respondents for the RFP, Penrose and Elm City Communities. They visited the committee visited the project sites for those 2 developers, and they will apparently make a selection soon. So I can paste this in the chat by topic. I think it's too many characters to put in. But that's all I have. Does anyone have questions for me?
Any questions in the room? No questions on the room.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. Okay, we're gonna move down to health, housing, and public safety. Our first presentation would be from New Haven Fair Rent Commission.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Waldelice Bermudez, and I'm the new Executive Director for the City of New Haven Fair Rent Commission. So hello, everyone. I've been in this position starting this year, and I wanted to share with you 2 important things. First, if you can mark your calendars, if anybody is interested in attending our upcoming workshop, it's going to be held next Thursday at the Fairhaven Library Branch, and that's going to be Thursday, October 13th at 6:30 p.m., where I will be presenting information about what the Fair Rent Commission does. So this is really great information for anyone who wants to know, how do I file a complaint with the Fair Rent Commission? What is the process? What are types of complaints that the Fair Rent Commission takes? But to summarize, the Fair Rent Commission for the City of New Haven, it was established over 50 years ago. And we have the ability to control or eliminate excessive rental charges. And so with that, we receive a lot of complaints with rental increases from tenants, but we also have the ability to investigate other types of cases as well. So for a very thorough workshop informational session about what we do, if you can help us spread the word, that would be amazing. And the second thing that I wanted to mention is that right now we have 4 openings for Fair Rent Board of Commissioners. And so we have those 4 openings for slots. And as you know, serving on a board and commission, it is a volunteer position. You're appointed by the mayor and approved by the Board of Alders. And we meet once a month, specifically for the Board of Commissioners to make a ruling on a case. So if the case has gone through the entire process and we've tried to negotiate with the landlord and the tenant, and it does not reach a successful negotiation, it then goes before our Board of Commissioners. So the Board of Commissioners has the ultimate ability to be able to rule on a case. So they have the ability to reduce or eliminate, in some cases, some extreme cases, extreme rental happenings, occurrences. So with that, I want to pause there because I want to be mindful of the time. But just remember that on next Thursday, October 13th at 6:30 p.m., I will be presenting at the Fairhaven Library Branch. Thank you. And I will place my email so that if anyone wants to contact me, you have my information as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next presentation would be for opioid reversal training. Yes.
I don't see Andressa here, and I know she said she wasn't going to be able to be at the whole meeting. So if she comes on later, maybe we can slot her in, but I think we could move on at the moment.
Okay. So Fairhaven Community Health.
Hi, I'm Dominic Seraphin. I'm in the room today. How are you?
Yeah, very good.
Thanks. I was hoping that Dr. Lagarde is online. I think she is driving and about to come here. But if we could share our slide deck, that would be great.
Can they hear him? People here?
Yeah, as long as if you lower your mask just for this and talk toward the center there, they can hear you fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Great, thank you. So I'm Dominic Seraphin. I work with Fairhaven, and we've been coming to a couple of meetings now to talk about campus development that's been happening. In the past meetings, we talked about parking lot projects. You can go to the next slide. Thanks. So today we're going to be talking about a site improvement that's happening on the campus. So as you know, the campus is located at 374 Grand Ave. It's close to the Mill River side. And I'll just walk up to the front of the room and point out, I'm sorry. So this campus here, that's ours. This area here is where the parking improvement was that we've been talking about. And this is the area that we're going to talk about today for a future health center site. I also want to point out these three buildings. We've sold 2 of these buildings to the city. So now the city owns all 3 of these buildings, and they're going to be developing this into housing. So each of these units will have 2 housing units in it. And the plan is for them to begin that work in 2023. That's my understanding from the city. So we sold this unit and this house to the city. So part of the need that we have is the space that's been vacated. We need more space for activity. So
for the people online, if you would stand over there and I'll point, can you go back for a second? I'll point to each of these, go back for a moment, and you say what it is from over there so they can see you. So,
oh yeah, so those 3 houses on Grand Avenue, they were, 2 of the houses were owned by us. One of the houses at the end, it was owned by the city for a number of years. And so the city is going to be developing them into housing units. So each unit will be home ownership, and there'll be a homeowner plus a rental unit. That's the plan. So there will be 6 housing units coming up on that block. Right now, all 3 of those units are vacant.
oh, there you go. So where he's writing city, and then the present one is the one in the center.
Yep. So we own the one to the left. We bought the one in the middle from the resident that was there. There was a fire in that house. He had left it. He had approached us and said, would you like to buy it? Then we started talking to the city, is maybe we can do some home ownership there, and that's where we're moving with those houses. Okay. Is Dr. Lagarde, has she joined yet? Sue? No, okay, I'll keep going. So next slide, please. So we had community listening sessions. We had talked about doing those. We did one in June. We did another one in August to talk about what the needs were for the community. And a number of people, the first one on site, live, we tried that. It was both done in English and Spanish. And the takeaways for the first one was we heard that place to gather, community hub, that sort of concept had a lot of interest. There were concerns about we'd like an entrance, a private, kind of more discreet from versus being on Grand Avenue, the privacy of the so and then safety, those kind of concerns were voiced. Food and nutrition programs, how we can do education, diabetes education, a food pharmacy, a place for people to even get food, behavioral health and integrating behavioral health with medical care, more behavioral health services. Then the youth, how do we engage the youth, whether it's careers, whether it's after-school programs, so that topic was there. And then we had the discussion about like design elements. How should a space be looking and feeling for the community? And a lot of these takeaways you'll be seeing in future rollouts as we keep moving forward with designing it. But it was important that it fit with the architecture of Grand Avenue, nature, this whole nature fixed concept of how do we bring nature into the building, and that's also outside the building, a homey feel. So these takeaways were then brought in by our architects and design team. Next slide, please. Okay, so the project is a 3-story facility. It'll have a basement plus 3 stories above ground. And basically, it's 28 exam rooms. And what you'll see on the top right-hand side, that's the first floor. You come in, there's exam rooms there. Below that on the right-hand side is the second floor exam rooms. And then on the left-hand side, level 3, that's a large community space. So there's training in classrooms. There's a large multi-purpose space. There's a kitchen that's like would be used for education, like where we could do cooking classes up there. And then there's the concept is to have a large outdoor deck, a terrace area where you can even do gardens up there, those kind of things. So to have outdoor space, we don't have really any good outdoor space on the current property that we have. And so this would facilitate that. And so there's going to be a pharmacy, a lab in there, and then the next slide. Okay, and so Bill, are you on?
I am.
Okay, Bill is our architect that's working on the site. So I'll let Bill talk a little bit about how the design is fitting in and how that's working. Bill?
Okay. Wonderful. Thanks, Dominic. So just to pick up on some of the cues that Dominic had mentioned, taking away the concept of green and biophilia environment, we really looked at this building looking at its corner lot site. As you can see here, we're located on the corner of James to the west and then Grand Avenue to the north. We're looking to re-improve that streetscape. So part of our design is to enhance the street frontage with new trees. Within there, as you look down Grand Ave, you can see where those elements were prior. So we're looking to bring that back in to our footprint. The other thing on this that I wanted to mention is the adjacency between the existing facility, which you see in the white and basically the center. The new proposed building that we have has a nice adjacency to complement the existing clinic services. This both creates a sense of understanding when you're going to the clinic, you know where you're going, and the two programs can still work together. The third thing I just wanted to point out on this site plan too, as Dominic mentioned, is the site improvements for the overall parking, which is happening to the south end of the site, and you see the proposed layout there. If we go to the next slide. And just to give you a little closer view of some of those green elements, the design elements for the site plan, which is the process or where we are in the design phase right now. A few things to point out. The patient entrance will remain off of Grand Ave. Again, familiar element to what people do today, patients do today. The second item here I wanted to point out is, again, just closer look at that new streetscaping. You can see the trees not only along the street, but as you come into the site, we are having a bioswale area to help with our stormwater or runoff before it goes into the stormwater system. And then the third element here is that pocket park, and that's what you see on the bottom of the page on the site plan. And just to help give you a sense for how the spaces may feel, there's a few little vignettes on the right-hand side. And this just gives you a sense of the direction that the design is going, the character. And this pocket park is really a gem. This is the element that's really bringing what we heard about bringing the community and community elements into the building. We also felt that it's important to provide that same space outside the building. So here we have what we're terming as a pocket park, just to expand that element and that community outreach component. Next slide.
Thanks, Bill. I'll take over from here. So we are in they call the schematic design phase, which is the early phase. The level of detail is not there yet. We're transitioning into design development, which is getting to the details. These pictures that you just saw are like the first pictures, and just because we have to start now filing with the city for approval. So we're here today to ask for a letter of support. That would be to the alders, to the Board of Zoning Appeals, and to the City Planning Commission. There are some, and they have to approve all the drawings, all the use of land, all of those elements there. And so one of the asks that we have of them that we're working through is that this is our campus now goes across a BA1, which is a business zone. So the Grand Avenue, the blue, is a business zone. And on this side is a residential 2 zone, RM2. And so what we would like to do is have all of these properties zoned the same so that they can work together. We have to piece all these various parcels together in order to do stormwater management and those kind of areas. And these, you can see the residential houses here sit in the business zone, but that's just how the city is zoned. Yes.
I have a couple of questions. How many more?
Could you stand up so people can hear on the internet?
Sure.
Speak loudly, thank you.
How many more patients and clinicians and staff will be in this new building? How many additional parking spots will be there? And have you done a sewer flow capacity study that the street sewer system can handle?
Yeah, so actually the sewer system is going to be managed on site. It's not going to be into with the city's sewer system. Bill or Will, can you?
So you'll have a holding tank for that?
Yes.
And pump outs? And who'll handle all the odor from that?
Everyone speaking in the room, speak toward the front so that everyone on the internet can hear you.
So how would you handle the odor from the holding tanks and the pump out station?
If I can interject just to clarify, what Dominic was speaking to is the site stormwater will be retained and held on site. The building sewer will tie into the city sewer system.
And you did capacity study?
That's part of our engineering process that we're going through now.
And did you do a traffic flow study for how many additional people will be inside this building? You know, clients, administration, doctors, everything. You have 28 exam rooms, so is that another 80, 90, 100 people?
Oh, no, not at all. And so we're doing.
Well, how many people do you expect? That you're going to be submitting to the board of zoning?
I don't have that number off the top of my head. What I can tell you is that 5 exam rooms equal 2 clinicians, 2 medical assistants, and 1 nurse. So for every 5, it's going to be like 5 people. So 25 people,
What
right?
are the additional people in that building from your current people on campus now?
And so part of things that we're not increasing capacity by 27. Today we have 30 exam rooms. And so what we're doing is the exam rooms that we have, have you been to the facility? Yeah, so you know how small the exam rooms are. Right? The exam room should be 110.
Obviously, parking spaces.
Yeah,
So traffic flow and parking spaces based on how many people are going to be on the campus.
No, I understand, and then that's what the traffic people are asking us. And so the number of exam rooms are only increasing from 30 to 48, so it's a net increase of So 18 means that there's 5 pods. So there's 15 more people on the campus. Now, some of them walk. I live in Worcester Square. I walk to work there. So, you know, I don't know how many of them would be driving. As far as patients go, we did a traffic study. There is a large percentage of patients that use other modes of transportation. And then they also park on the street, you know, and we don't have enough parking today. So this parking will meet the needs that the city addresses 2 per 1,000 square feet.
Are you currently parking in the area where you're building the building?
No, we
Well,
have
that's the old
5
Palm Beach area.
Yeah, that's a pizza pharmacy.
You're not like
We have 5 parking spots in that area.
5.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
No.
Very good. Okay. Yes.
I have a question. I just want some clarity. Are you saying that you're because you're saying you're asking for a letter of support for zoning?
For Board of Alders, City
Right,
Planning Commission.
Because you said you wanted to be all a business?
So that's a map change.
Okay.
So that's one element. Then there's, so.
Because this is a neighborhood, right?
Yeah,
So
so
people live here.
Yep. So believe it or not, you cannot build a health facility in a BA1 without a special exception.
Okay.
And so that's an ask that we have to make to the BZA, which then goes to the CPC for comment. Then it comes back to BZA for a vote.
Right. So I just want to know if it's going to affect the residents who are currently living there. Like, how does it affect them?
It doesn't, because it would only be to this.
Okay.
So just these parcels would be changed from this color to blue. Everything else remains the same.
Okay.
Yeah, so they can draw the lines, as you can see, around properties, and that's how they would do it.
Next question.
Mr. Serafin, if you go back up there for a moment, just document me. And Woolsey Street is down at the bottom of the slide. But where is Grand Avenue? How far up? Got it, thank you. I just couldn't.
Where's Exchange Street on here?
It's down further.
Is
It's
it
down
so
further.
Grand Woolsey then Exchange?
We have a question from the Zoom. I think Liz has her hand up on Zoom. So Liz, the floor is yours.
Yes, hi, good evening. Thank you so much. The question I have is, you know, I live on Woolsey behind the clinic. I'm just curious to know how much housing is going to be lost in that location and the businesses that are going to be lost as well, where you are proposing this new, I guess, addition to the clinic and versus the number of housing that is going to be added on supposedly in 2023 by the city. I don't see how that adds up because there's a lot of families in that house and there's businesses too. So I'm just wondering.
Sure. Your question about the Woolsey?
She wants to know if people are going to get kicked out of their homes. That's what it sounds like.
Okay, so in Woolsey Street,
Listen up, folks.
81 Woolsey is a parking lot. 83 Woolsey is abandoned. It's been boarded up. 85 Woolsey is an administrative office, so we're moving the people elsewhere. And 87 Woolsey has one tenant that's moving out.
So I know that because I live on the Woolsey side. My other question really is clarification of how many businesses and how much housing is going to be lost with the new site that's on the corner of Grand and James, because there's businesses and housing there. I don't think that the new housing that is supposed to be proposed on the other side at Grand and Lloyd is going to make up for all the families losing their housing at James and Grand and the businesses too. So I was just wondering how does anyone have information about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's 2 businesses here. One is a pharmacy. We're actually opening up a pharmacy at this location on October 24th. And so that will, you know, the pharmacy needs will be met. Hank, who owns a pizza place, he's not going to be, he's going to be retiring. That's what he's told us. So he's not looking to move the business. And then there are 5 tenants there's 5 residential units in the building. And then this would create 6. in the unit. And so there's a net gain of housing.
If you have a pharmacy inside the clinic, what happens to the pharmacy that's already there? Are you connected with that in some way?
We work with Raj, and at New Haven Pharmacy, yes.
Be a question.
Go ahead. I'm piggyback on that. You said that, first of all, 83, you said that is abandoned.
83, yes.
Okay,
it's
did
boarded up.
you acquire already or no?
Yes,
You did.
we own all those parcels.
Okay, now my next question, you said that 5 people are losing houses, but then you pointed at the 3 houses that are gonna be rebuilt. How are you connecting them?
That's a discussion we have to have with.
No, because I'm an LCI board member, and I will tell you, those 3 houses are gonna be rebuilt and sold for home occupant ownership. So I don't think those people that live there are gonna be moving there unless they're rented by somebody that buy the house.
Yeah, and so what the city's doing, and you know this since
Yeah.
you're at LCI,
Yeah.
is that there's gonna be homeowners and there's gonna be rental units.
Yes.
In order to help the homeowner.
I mean, yeah, that's what
And so
the
it's
only,
gonna
the only
be
way that they
free
move
rent.
there, if the owner rents to them,
Right.
why did they rent to them? Where they go?
Well,
Like I said,
that's where else.
Yeah, that's why, because when you mentioned that, and then also it's gonna be an easement for the parking to the houses too. From the clinic to the houses too.
No.
It will be.
No, because these houses here have their own access from the street.
The last house, no, the ones you own, that the city acquired, is the same entrance for the park for the back. Yeah, that one, the closest to that one, the last one,
This one.
that one, the same entrance for the parking lot for the clinic is gonna be an easement for that one to go to the back.
No.
I know.
Yes, this is a separate property.
Just for information, that's right, but you gotta be clear on that because those people.
There's an alley back here.
No, I get it, but about those people I would love that to happen. That people, they stay close to where they live.
Yeah.
But he's not 100% sure that that's gonna happen. Just for clarification.
Yeah.
Just clarification, that's all. I wanna make sure everybody knows.
Excuse me, guys.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I know you're gonna be in the automatic meeting and all. Can you
I'm
guys
afraid.
carry that over there for me, please? Can you guys carry your questions that you have?
That was one question I had. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, last slide.
Okay, last slide, please.
That's it. Last slide is, yeah, so these are the dates that we have ahead of us between October and the city approvals. We're still looking for funding for this. We've been getting grants for big projects, it's like $30 million. And we've gotten support from the state, we've got support from the federal government, we've written grants for it. We're about 2/3 of the way there. So it's looking like this might be a reality, but that's the challenge, is that we have to take it over the finish line from a funding standpoint. And so if we get the funding, if we get the approvals, and then construction would begin June of 2023 and open January of 2025. Thank you very much.
We have one
quick
more
question from chat.
Yeah,
Yep.
one more question on Zoom from Liz, and then we'll get Gina from the chat. Is that okay? Liz.
Please.
Yeah, quickly, Liz.
Yeah, very quickly, thank you. I just want to know what kind of guarantee, if possible, we're going to get for Woolsey Street, that you guys aren't going to keep buying houses up and trying to keep expanding. I mean, I don't want to lose where I live.
Yeah, a guarantee that hopefully this building, this is the first building in 50 years that the clinic has done. This will serve the needs of the community and the clinic for years. So this, I don't see additional properties that are needed if we can get this project done.
Next question.
Give another question.
Yes.
Yes, Gina in the chat questioned, are you putting the pharmacy out of business?
It's just that the-
And then we'll have, once you respond, and Sue would like to speak for a minute.
Great. No, we're talking to Raj. We work with Raj on programs here, and we're looking to find another space for him.
Okay, Sue, you have the floor.
Thanks, Abby. So I apologize. I had some technological issues getting on, but I want to just address the community and say that we've been in Fairhaven for going on 53 years. For the past 30 years, we're in, from those of you who come to the clinic, 3 Victorian houses that were built in the 1800s. We've expanded as much as we can. We make it as best we can. I'm really excited that this is an opportunity for us to bring to you state-of-the-art quality facility in terms of how we provide healthcare, but even more importantly, or equally importantly, what we're calling a community hub. We're very intentional about wanting to put space there. And once we have different rooms and the technology to support it, our absolute vision is to create gathering spaces for the community where the community can come together, meet like this, meet like we meet in the library. And we're hopeful that we can provide different programs, and we'll want to hear from you what those programs look like. Things that we've thought about are, after school programs, job trainings. What limits us today in those efforts is space. We're with you. I mean, we want to do this because, we've listened to you. We share the fact that we want to give high quality, spacious rooms to provide the community with healthcare. We've been here 53 years. We're not going anywhere. We don't want to go anywhere. And I'll just leave it at that. But we welcome your thoughts and your concerns. But I just want to let you know that every time I think of something, I think of what is the impact on the community and how can we best serve your needs. So please, if you have any further questions, you can either email me, put them in the chat, call me, whatever you would like.
Thank you, Sue. I think with that, we'll close the discussion and we will bring it to a vote. That vote will go out in the e-blast, and we'll have more information for you, everybody, in the next few days.
Thank you. Thank you all.
For the people that are in the room, you should know that if you do not have access to the web, you can tell our secretary what your vote is, yay and nay, and she will convey that so it gets added to the ones that are being done online. But it will be available to all of you online. But if you don't feel comfortable, don't know how to do that, you can convey it to the secretary and then she will add it. You do that directly and privately with her.
Okay, so we're gonna go up with following on our harm reduction vending machines.
Sure. I'm not sure which direction to face, so I'll try to go back and forth. I'm Rick Altice. I was here a month ago and met with you and gave a slide presentation and went over the details of these harm reduction vending units. And just to sort of set the stage, and I'll try to limit my time because I know that everybody's running late into the evening, but Connecticut has the 9th highest overdose rate in the country. New Haven has the highest in Connecticut, and there are several communities in New Haven that are disproportionately affected by opioids and drug injection. Our goal for the last many years has been to provide harm reduction services within the city of New Haven. We run that big blue bus that runs around the city called the Community Healthcare Van. We have a fixed storefront location where we do harm reduction services, and we have a community outreach team. We have put boxes or these daisy units for sterile syringes. And one of the things that I heard earlier that was really important is that we live in a 24/7 world. Our harm reduction services, as they stand right now, are insufficient to meet the needs. And in fact, the overdose rate in the community is not actually stabilizing, but going up. So we are in a situation where I think we do need to be able to provide
additional sort of safety for our clients until we can get them into treatment. Part of what we do is we actually try to keep people safe, and then we have direct access to get people into treatment. So one of the things that is important just to sort of go over is that these harm reduction units look like a vending machine. The vending machines will actually not take money or any of those other sorts of things, but the only people who can use them are people who are registered to our program, either through their unique ID or through a card which they can swipe in order to get that. There'll be a QR code so that they can access services. And we have, at the end of that, on-demand treatment. So if we want to get into treatment right away, we actually provide those services. Everything within these harm reduction units will be in sort of opaque packaging, so you won't walk up and say, I'm getting X or Y or Z, so you're not going to see your Diet Coke or your Snickers bar that's right up there available, but they'll actually have an ability for them to get what they want within that. You'll have an array of harm reduction supplies, sterile syringes, safer injection equipment, hopefully overdose equipment, naloxone, educational sorts of things. In addition to being able to get safer injection or supplies within this kit, there will be a disposal unit. So communities that are worried about unsterile syringes being on their streets or anywhere, this is a place where people can come to actually get rid of them in a safe and responsible sort of way. So they can come in and get things and they can drop them off. Our group can monitor this. It will be computerized. We can see when supplies go down. We can restock it. We're going to go to it regularly. We're going to clean up around these areas so that it can be available. These machines are locked down. They're bolted down. The glass is plexiglass. They tell us that you can't put a bullet through them. They're in other communities around the country and Puerto Rico and other sorts of places. They tend to be a way to reduce stigma. They increase access and they make it available 24/7. We're going to have our phone number up there. If people need to get a hold of anything, if there's a problem within the sort of area. And that's really about it. I had a big slide presentation that was available last time. I think it should still be available to anybody who wants to get access to that. I was reducing my time to 5 minutes, so I want to be able to answer questions. And just to be perfectly clear, we are going to have an ask, which is an ask for a letter of support to be able to provide this in the Fairhaven community. We're looking at other areas in the community, including downtown and other areas within the New Haven. And we're working with the mayor's office in order to reduce the harms within the city of New Haven. So I'm happy to take questions and sort of be responsive to any of your needs. Yes.
How many machines in what locations in Fairhaven?
Pardon me?
How many machines and what locations will they be at?
So we got funding for 3 machines for the whole city of New Haven, and we were hoping to find 1 location in Fairhaven, 1 downtown, and perhaps 1 in 1 other area.
You haven't picked the location yet.
Well, there's a lot of stipulations. We're not going to actually spend a huge amount. We've been sort of talking with a number of places, but until we actually have approval in a community and support, we haven't actually selected a location. There's some other specifications. We can't have them within a certain distance of a school. So we're going to follow all of those sorts of things to be able to do that. But no, we have not selected a location.
Where are some of the other requirements? If not, where it can't be?
Well, so there's 3 of them. One of them, is it 1 or 2, Natalie, that are temperature controlled?
2 are.
So depending on which one, so the locations, ideally, if you have them inside of a space that is like temperature controlled, you can use any of them there. They can be like in a kiosk on the outside where you can put a fence up around them and stuff like that. And so they can be outdoors for those that are formally regulated. And then the ones that are around the city, as I understand it, it has to be within a certain distance. It cannot be within a certain distance of a school. We had heard 500 feet at one point. We're sort of looking into the legal spaces, but we will follow whatever regulation is there, for sure. Yes, question.
How does this align with with policing? Only because there are people who we're gonna assume people who are getting something, some things may be illicit.
Yep.
So how are we aligning that?
So with all of the work that we do, we work with community policing around this. And so one of the things that I think, not only for here, but elsewhere, is we try to create a safe zone. In general, people have been concerned about whether there's loitering around that. There does not tend to be loitering. People tend to go in and get out. And so that seems to be the collective wisdom. And we would certainly ask police to sort of respect that area for coming in and going out. One of the things that, the reason why they go in and go out and don't loiter is because they don't want to be sort of the watering hole, if you will. So for the police to get them, the police will typically respect that. When we go out with our harm reduction vans and programs, they work with us. So we're always in communication with them, and they give us a safe zone. So they protect us in some ways, but they also don't interfere and keep clients from coming in and getting services. And remember, our services are not only harm reduction, but we link them to treatment.
Got it.
So there's the combination of the two. So we think of it as a real holistic program.
Okay.
Questions or comments? I know that we're running on the late side of the hour.
We need to get to the voting process.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
So
I'm
I'll,
gonna turn this over to Adam.
yeah, I'll speak real quick on the voting process. After this meeting, you'll get your kind of after meeting report email. I can put it in the chat as well for people on Zoom, but you will be getting a link to this page. And so it includes, you have to put your name so we can make sure that you are a voting member. If you're not sure, you can click here and it'll pull up a list of all of our voting members and you can double check your name on there. But then you'll go down and we have 2 votes tonight. One is about the Fairhaven Community Health Center new building development that we heard from Dominic. And one is what we just heard about the harm reduction vending machines. And also there's a presentation from last month that this link will jump you straight to, if you see it, like it goes right to the middle of this Zoom video or YouTube video of the presentation. So it goes right to just that part. So you don't have to watch a whole 2-hour meeting if you're just curious about that bit. So you can always say yes, no, or abstain. So if you have an opinion on one, but not the other, you can always abstain on one or the other. Feel free to split your vote however you want. And then when you're done, you just click, put your name, click your vote, click submit, and you have till the end of the weekend to get all these votes in, and we'll combine that with if anyone gives their vote in person, and we will have the majority wins.
Okay.
All right, the community will speak.
Is there any questions about the process?
And if before you vote, you want to email me or speak to me directly, I'll make sure that all my information is available. I'm happy to speak one-on-one as well.
Question in the back.
Was there a motion on the floor to vote?
No, we're not, because we have the form. We're not asking for a motion. We just offer the voting and the majority wins.
You don't have to make a motion to.
We haven't been doing, because of Zoom, we haven't been doing it that way.
Because if we voted that we don't want to write a letter, then we can't request to write a letter.
Excuse me, say that again?
It's very complicated. We've already dealt with this in process already, David. I'll be happy to tell you what the process is.
Okay. We're gonna go forward now.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we're ready for our announcements. I think that our first announcement should be our upcoming nominations for next year executive board.
Yes, so I will
Should
open.
Should Kirk talk about the library quickly? I think that's
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kirk.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, we're the hosts. We don't want to be missed.
Yes, absolutely.
We're always proud to host. We're glad to see everybody here, and for those online, hopefully we'll see you soon. You can, as Will Louise mentioned earlier, a week from today, come in for the Fair Rent Commission's workshop. Like I say, that's next Thursday, October 13th at 6:30 p.m. But you can come in every day. We have many events going on after school for kids, including we're coming up in another week or so. We'll actually have a kids yoga program, something we've never offered before. And so that will be after school starting on the Monday, the 18th. And then a fun program to get you in the mood for Halloween on Saturday, the 22nd. Well, we've had them in here before, but this is the first time since the pandemic. Ghost Hunters of Connecticut will be here on Saturday, the 22nd at noon to talk about some of their spooky investigations here in Connecticut. So if you want a fun, possibly bit scary program coming up, that is Saturday, the 22nd. But there's always something fun going on here, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. So now we're going to do the process for our nominations for our executive board for the next year, 2022, 23. Voting or nominations, nominations for folks that are interested in being on the executive board. And one of our requests was that before you nominate a person, please make sure you get a yay from them that they're willing to do that and not just have people just all over the place. Okay? So Adam's gonna go forward.
Yeah, so in a second here, I'm gonna open this up to nominations, but first I wanna let you know about how our elections are gonna actually work this year, since we are doing Zoom and in person. To make this fair, we're gonna have this be a real-time election with both Zoom and in person. So we're gonna have 2 members in person of the current executive board counting votes, and we're going to have 2 members of the executive board on Zoom counting votes. So there's no kind of shenanigans possible or anything like that. And so if you want to vote, you're going to have to be here for our elections, which is next meeting, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. So next meeting, if you want to vote, you have to be here, or the bylaws do allow you to nominate a proxy, but you have to let us know before the meeting. Send us an email saying this person is my proxy. This person is going to be voting for me because I can't make it. So now we're going to open it up to anyone who wants to be nominated. If you want to nominate yourself, you want to nominate somebody else. For example, I'm just going to start us off. I'm going to nominate Christina Griffin to be our recording secretary for next year. If anyone doesn't know, Christina's been doing it since Lisa retired, but this will be, we'll get to vote her in officially. So I nominate Christina. Christina, do you accept, hopefully?
Oh, I have to say something? Yes, I accept.
You don't need to do a speech.
Okay, so we're just gonna go down the line, whoever wants to nominate someone.
Yeah, we have, looks like we have one in person who wants to make a nomination.
Okay.
Diane, do you wish to run again and handle our money?
Darlene.
Darlene, I was close.
Yes, I will be happy to.
Was that a positive? Yes?
Yes, that's
Then I
positive.
look to nominate our current treasurer.
Treasurer.
Just get my name, you have to get my name.
On the nomination form, it'll be correct.
Otherwise, Diane will take over.
No.
Okay, thanks, Dennis, I will. accept.
Okay. I also would like to nominate David Steinhardt for co-chair. And our next executive board year. Will you accept, Dave?
I accept. I did that job for a decade. roughly.
Any other nominations tonight?
I also want to nominate Lee Cruz as a potential co-chair.
That's right. I forgot.
You accept, Lee?
Yes, I accept.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a raised hand from David Weinreb, so I will give him the floor briefly.
Hi, everyone. I'd like to nominate Liz Tyler de Velasquez for co-chair.
Who?
Liz Tyler de Velasquez, who's here with us on Zoom and is here with us on Zoom for months and months and months.
Let's find her, Liz, and so just, we'd like to put you up, so just so people can see your face, is that okay, Liz?
That's okay.
Okay, so here we go. I'm just gonna pin her just so that people can just see who she is, okay? That's Liz.
Oh, I know.
Say hello. Since people don't know you, do you want to say just one or two sentences?
Oh, yeah, sure. I live here in Fairhaven. I've been here for 4 years with my daughter. We live on Woolsey Street. I'm in SCSU currently, pursuing my double major bilingual K through 6 teaching certification. And I'm really looking forward to doing more community work. So hopefully.
I'd like to nominate Adam Grandel to continue to be our vice chair and excellent Zoom coordinator. Do you accept?
And webmaster.
And webmaster, oh, I forgot the website, yeah. Adam,
Yeah, I accept.
I'd also like to nominate Abigail Storch to continue to be our correspondence secretary. Do you accept?
I will happily accept.
And before,
I'd like to nominate Diane to be co-chair again.
I am sorry. Diane is actually retiring from the program. I've been here over 22 years.
Wow.
And I have some new voices. And I do want to say a couple of things. And I don't want anybody to take this as personal or anything. These are just things that I've heard in the community that would like to see the improvements in the management team. And that's basically all. I'm just putting it on the table. My hands would not be in this. And so I'm looking forward to our executive board to at least work up to those requests of folks that are out there. And basically, one is, we know that, and sometimes I forget, that Ward 14 goes down to Franklin Street, is that Franklin Street? And so when I was trying to recruit people to come to the meeting, I found out that a lot of them didn't even know the meeting was taking place. So I know that we did outreach at some point back in the day, maybe I say about 5-6 years ago. We did do outreach, but we're not actually catching everyone in the Fairhaven neighborhood, especially in our ward. And they were really kind of not happy at the fact that they didn't know that they actually had a voice to be able to speak about the changes and whatever is developed in our neighborhood. And the people that did know, they felt like they weren't, that their opinion didn't matter. So I know that that's not true. I do know that. However, I just feel that maybe we should make a better effort into contacting and connecting with those people, being that they are absolutely a part of our community.
Diane, Franklin Street is where that's across from the meat king.
Yes.
That whole community
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Because remember, it goes by police district,
Right.
not by aldermanic district.
Okay.
The old Ferraro, right?
Yeah, across the old Ferraro.
But we should
Maybe
stay.
we should make an effort then to get to those people, because there's quite a few people.
Yeah.
And it's a very mixed community now. I mean,
Exactly.
you have Galeys living there, you have everything living there now.
Yeah.
It's not just like it was years ago. So.
We do have to talk about this, but we are in nomination.
Exactly, and we do, but I just wanted to just say my goodbye speech, adding those things to what I had heard. And Lee can vouch that I'm always trying to bring to the executive board anything that I hear out in the community to make it better. So.
And I think that,
And we expect Diane to continue to come to meetings and make your voice heard. We want you in our midst.
Yes, ma'am.
I think Diane brings up a really good point of outreach. And if you have any experience with anything like that, you can self-nominate. Don't worry about it's not like gauche or anything like that. Like, if you have experience with community outreach, or you do it through, you manage to get, 20 new church members or whatever, nominate yourself. We would love to have more people.
Amen. I know I'm not the church, but amen. Okay. Then our bylaws. Because of the pandemic and the things that has come up in the past 2 years, is one of the reasons that we're looking for 5 members of the management team to actually rewrite and make some adjustments to the bylaws to actually fit things like the pandemic. Everybody was left out, and there was a lot of hard feelings that they weren't able to do this and that and the other. And what we want to try to make a rule in our bylaws that we have a method of making that happen, that they actually can still attend the meetings, still have the right to vote. And even if it's on Zoom or what other way that they may come up with.
So,
Go ahead.
In the executive committee, we had a conversation about this, and Adam has offered to be the person from the executive committee that will be kind of organizing, but we're looking for 4 members of the general body to join him. Already, Sally Esposito, who was on the last committee, has volunteered the last time we revised our bylaws, and she's an attorney and has experience. I believe she is the person that's going to reach out to Jose Crespo, who's a member of the board, because of his knowledge of Robert's rules and how that might be applicable. But we don't know for a fact that he's going to say yes. Sally has already said that she's interested, but anyone that is interested in being on the bylaws committee, if you would write directly to Adam, Adam is the person that's going to coordinate on our behalf what the bylaw
Committee
looks like. And Adam, did you close, what's the nominations, where are we as well? If you could speak to that as well.
So yeah, the nominations, so we have nominations currently, 3 nominations for co-chair: David Steinhardt, Lee Cruz, and Liz Titer, and Darlene for treasurer, Christina for recording secretary, Abby for corresponding secretary, me for vice chair. If you want to check with somebody that you know, or you want to nominate yourself later, we can accept that through email. That's fairhavencmt@gmail.com. Feel free to send it. Please, again, check with, if you're going to nominate somebody else, check with them before you email us. And because this is going to be, next month, we're going to be voting. So there might be, a brief nomination period before that, but, try and get it in before then. And, if you don't, if you hate me for whatever reason and you want to see somebody else coming in for vice chair, start bugging people to be vice chair of the community management team, because I'm running unopposed currently. So that's that.
Welcome
For-
healthy competition. Just because we're in roles does not mean you have to stay there. So we welcome
No.
all, any kind of, desire to be involved.
And then also for the bylaws committee, again, it's just same email, the fairhavencmt@gmail.com. It'll get, I'll access it through that. That way you don't have to remember another email or anything like that. But yeah, we also have to get, a couple more people for that so that we can, in the event that, a meeting, we can't do it on Zoom, or we can't do it in person, or we can't, whatever, there's currently no process to allow for kind of, reasons why some populations could make it and some can't, and whatever. Dave, did you have a question?
Thanks, Adam. At next month's meeting, I presume there'll be space for candidates to speak to their interests and their experience in the roles, and also opportunity for public comment for others to speak about candidates as well. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's going to be at next month's meeting. That's our election meeting. Again, part of the reason why we want everyone to be there in person to vote is because, yes, that will be part of it, where, all we'll ask all the candidates to say their piece. And if you have a specific question of, hey, why did you not say hi to me on the street last week, or whatever, you can do so in a public forum.
Okay. Any
Unfortunately,
questions? Yes, I'm getting ready to actually do that. Is Michelle here
I
tonight?
don't think she's on Zoom, so I think we can move past that. Unfortunately.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna say this, even though we're just gonna pass it. Accustomadly, we usually just do Thanksgiving for our senior citizens here in Fairhaven. And it has been coordinated, Dave, myself, Cindy, yes, and throughout these many years. So I've heard that Michelle would like to continue this. So you guys just, if anybody's interested in working with it, just let Adams know. No, I'm not gonna put it through Adam, so that he's good at getting all the messages out.
Is this the one at the Atwater Center?
Yes.
The one
Mhm.
we did last year?
Yes. Mhm. So that is the other. Now, a recycling day for Jeff.
He's online.
He's online.
There he is.
Thank you for your patience, Jeff, and you have got the floor.
Hey, everybody.
13 minutes or less.
I'll make this quick. I know it's been, everybody's probably pretty tired, but I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that you invited me on to present about Hometown Recycling Day, which is our third annual event in the community. We try to bounce around. What we do, we bounce around to different neighborhoods each year. So this year it happens to be in the Hill North community, and it's 9 days away at the Hill Career High School, 140 Legion Avenue. I'm sure you know where that is. And it gives you a chance in the neighborhood and in general New Haven area, to residents of New Haven and resident students, to go bring what we call big box recycling items, stuff you can't put in your blue bin. Now, to be in all fairness, I got to say, we do accept these items that are accepted there on the 15th. We accept them every day at the transfer station, which is actually probably more convenient to you folks in Fairhaven. But the nice thing about this is a community event gives everybody a chance to get together and know other people that are recycling responsibly. And we also have a nice awareness section, awareness and information, so you can learn about haz waste, where to put it, what to do with it. You can learn about creative reuse. EcoWorks is going to be there. We're trying to get somebody, right now we had somebody cancel on composting and that sort of thing, and organics, which is too bad. But we have other things like, even a refresher course on around recycling on curbside. Department of Public Works is going to be down there. But the main thing you can bring is items that you might be interested in are, I'll put it up in the chat too. Let me put that up now because that's really explains everything. There's a little flyer here. That hit you? Can you see that in the chat? There's a. Everybody see that?
We only see the download. We can't see the actual, what the download is.
Let me try that again.
So you have to click it on the.
Yeah, that should work.
Arrow.
Okay. But let's just tell you what you can bring is mattresses and box springs. You can bring all types of electronics, including stereos, cell phones, PCs, monitors, printers, peripherals, even wires. Also, you can bring all sorts of textiles, which is clothing and accessories, even down to linens and stuffed toys. Yes, stuffed toys. And we have, excuse me. So we have that. Those three things are the major things you can bring. But the nice add-on to that is, like I said, we have shredding on site, which is usually can be costly. And we're just saying, come one, come all, bring your sensitive documents to be shredded, and we'll do that right in front of you, so you know that it's being securely destroyed. But we'd love to see you down there. I know it's not in your neighborhood this year, but it could be in your neighborhood next year, and we hope you give us some support and come on down.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for listening.
So Gabe is gonna give us our council report.
Gabe from Art Space.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. My name's Gabe Sacco-Hiley. I'm the visual culture producer at Art Space New Haven. And yeah, thanks for having me on. I just wanted to talk about our festival for a couple minutes. Our open source in common spaces is the theme this year. It's our 2022 art festival. It's happening throughout New Haven from October 21st through the 30th. I also have some flyers that maybe I'll just drop into the chat as well, but I'll just also speak about Fairhaven specifically. And we do have open studios in Erector Square happening, and in Marlin Works in East Rock happening on the 22nd and 23rd of October from 10 o'clock in the morning until 5 p.m. at night. And Lee Cruz is generously hosting a gastro excursion throughout Fairhaven that day as well. So some of the restaurants will hit up our La Molienda, the Salsa, Fairhaven Oyster Company, Armada Brewing Company, among some other stops too along the way. So yeah, I think this is just a great place to share, and I'll drop the flyers in that we have so far. We're still working to produce our website. I'll also just put my email in here. I won't take too much speaking time, but I'll put my email in the chat as well, so that I know many of you are in person, but if you wanted to take that, please feel free to email me and with questions. Lee Cruz is hosting the tour on the 22nd. We'll start off at Fairhaven Oyster Company at 1 p.m. and move forward from there. And we'll be ending at Armada Brewing Company, where we'll just have a little festival gathering and party. So please join us. And yeah, thank you. I'm just gonna drop them in now into the chat, but please, yeah, you can download and share.
Okay.
22nd
Of October?
of October.
Okay, our last announcement is from Lee. It's the Meet the Bank.
Yeah, okay, just very quickly, there are flyers there. If you own a business or you know someone who owns a business and they're looking to establish a relationship with a bank, we're gonna bring all the banks in New Haven with the help of the banking commissioner to one place at Gateway College next Wednesday, the 13th. And you'll be able to go, or any friend of yours who has a business or is thinking of starting a business and it's time to talk to a banker, instead of driving around to all the banks and setting up appointments, they'll all be there. And we know they'll be there because we got the banking commissioner to invite them. And they're there to speak with you if you have a business or if you're thinking of starting a business. This is open to anyone, but we're really looking for women, Black and brown business owners in particular, but it is open to anyone to get this information. That's next Wednesday, 5:30 at Gateway. There's a flyer in Spanish and English that's on the table. Thank you.
I also posted it in the social media.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Share with anyone you know who has a business or who thinks of starting a business.
All righty. So is there anything else? Oh, I'm sorry, Alderperson. Do you have anything that you would like to say?
I turn it down?
Yes, it's your turn.
Is the reason, okay, sorry, I try to be fast. How my healthy I had before? I'm gonna put in my Parks Commissioner hat right now. I met with Giovanni and Catherine from Parks and Rec. I don't know if you guys know this ARPA funds available for the parks. If you know what ARPA means, it's American Rescue Plan. It's money that federal government sends us for the parks. I met with Giovanni for 2 parks in my ward, which is Shadow Square Park. We are trying to put a fence all around it, with more trash cans and doggy bags, because there's something that people don't do, they don't pick up after the dogs. That's gonna be probably the 17th of October or the 21st. If you want to attend, my information is in the agenda. Send me an email, because I don't know if it's gonna be the 17th, which is a Monday, or a 21, which is a Friday. That's for Shadow Square Park. For Clinton Avenue Park, there was a design for baseball park in the Clinton side and a soccer field in it's Downing by the projects
Yeah.
in that side. It got dismissed. I want to bring it back. So that I'm working on that with the ARPA funds. And also, and Friscolo is not my work, but you know, that's my part. We try to bring back, as a Lee know, the skateboard park. When you buy there, and a sport that is growing a lot. I don't know if you heard about pickleball. That's growing fast, and I'm trying to get the skateboard and Criscolo, which has the basketball, has the softball, has the swings and the two and the splash pad. So we're gonna add, if hopefully, the pickleball, at least 2 courts, and the skateboard right there. I'm working on that one. So what I need the most help is with the Chapel Square Park, because they tell me it's too expensive. The fence, a nice iron fence, which I think will help everybody there. So whoever wants to be there, the 17th or the 21st, email me so I will tell you exactly when I'm going to meet with Giovanni Zing, which is the city engineer, and Catherine, which is the Parks Department engineer. Okay, now I'm gonna put my older hat on. And it's just, as you know, I'm the chair of the Black and Hispanic Caucus, and we do a gala every year. All the money we get, we give it out to little. If you know any little kid, any little league, basketball, soccer, volleyball, any little for teams, you come to us. Request, we give up to $300. So, you know, it's for kids, not for adults. And we also do every senior center, we give out $1,000 every year. There's 3 senior centers in New Haven. We give out $3,000, you know, $1,000 each. And we also do $3,000, $1,000 scholarship funds to three different people. I think the Hispanic firefighters, then we have a scholarship fund, and somebody else. When we do that every year. Now, to collect that money, we do a gala. The gala is this year, and it's every year as Anthony, and Anthony is October 27th. We always honor people. The honorees this year are, if you don't read this, is Andy Castillo, Wanda White Gibbs, Ronell Higgins, which used to be the chief of police of New Haven. Now he's in Yale Police. Michael Taylor, which is the CEO of Coyosca, Vermin Care Network, and the Puerto Rican United. Those are gonna be the honorees this year.
Okay,
Also-
Ernie, we gotta wrap it up. Can you do 30 more seconds?
Who's on?
The library is about to close.
Okay, see that?
30 more seconds.
That's the reason you get all these announcements, and then when we come, we got 2 seconds. That's one of the reasons, and don't get me wrong, that's the reason that I hardly come here. So anyway, there's a, at least,
Just so
every
you
year,
know.
if somebody wants to be a sponsor, he's there. I have to say, that's the reason why. You hardly see me here. Everybody talks for half hour, when we come, we gotta do for 30 seconds. Have a blessed night, everybody.
Yes, you too.
Hey, Ernie, actually, every year, the Black Man's Product Caucus donates money for the Thanksgiving at the senior.
Yeah, true, too. Money, we out of time. We out of time.
Your coat.
His jacket.
We have to wrap
Look at that, I know. We're back on here. Oh, I'm sorry, the meeting is adjourned.
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
No, actually,
You know what, I forgot to, did we have a report from, Sarah?
I think we, Abby, did you have something?
I can send it on the e-blast. I think,
What was it? Who was that?
Who was that guy?
I think they're getting kicked out of the library, so.
all right, yes, they are getting kicked out of the library because it's 8 p.m. Okay, next time.
All right, well, thank you everyone for sticking around for the full 2 hours.
Thanks.
And hopefully we see everyone next month for elections.
All right, thank you, Adam, for masterminding the tech.
Sign the paper up there.